Chapter 1. Gabby's grandmother was calling her and calling her. "Gabby! Gabby!" Let her call. Gabby rolled over on her bed, shoving her head under the musty lumps that passed for pillows on the four-poster. Her parents would be ashamed of her behaviour, but her parents were not here. "Gabby!" Her book, thrilling to her only minutes before, was now lying face down on the covers, exactly the way her Aunt Hannah told her not to leave it. "You'll ruin the spine," she said more times than Gabby cared. "Treat a spine of a book as you would any vertebrate." She always said this with a smile, but it didn't change the fact that she was trying to teach Gabby a lesson. Gabby wasn't much for lessons, for school, for informative anecdotes, witty truisms, or anything that didn't involve a plan to get her back home to her own bed, her own books, her own stuff, and her parents. Aunt Hannah and Gabby's grandmother Eugenie had a litany of sayings that Gabby and Raphael, her brother 4 years younger but 10 times more annoying, always seemed to be canting. "Manners go a long way. No one likes a smart aleck. When walking in the bush, wear good boots and carry a big stick. Wash your hands whenever you hold a reptile. Their skin carries bacteria. Never, never leave a cage, gate, or mouth open." Gabby had been living at the edge of the bush in Kites Creek now with Raffy for 6 months. The first 3 had been something of a blur of new beds and strange smells, different food, and the relentless passage of mammals and invertebrates that inhabit nearly every room inside and out of Eugenie Myrtle's animal sanctuary. "Welcome to the Ark Park," Eugenie would say brightly to the visitors who traipsed through their place on the weekends. Weekdays, the sanctuary was the family's private home and the refuge of every needy animal in the vicinity. But on weekends, Eugenie and Hannah would open the gates and their doors to locals and travellers keen to grab a peek at pinkies in pouches and the vast menagerie of injured, sick or orphaned creatures who called the sanctuary home. Eugenie relied on the donations she elicited from visitors to pay for the sizable food and heating bill a volunteer animal shelter incurred. She was a natural storyteller, and her captivating and more often heartbreaking tales of animal survival was usually enough to open the purse strings of the human traffic they accommodated. Eugenie was gifted at ways and means of soliciting donations from the hardest of hearts to maintain the animals' welfare. But in the last few years the energy bills had skyrocketed. The feed bill was rising faster than a thermometer's mercury on a scorcher, and now the land surrounding the sanctuary was being snapped up at auctions every weekend, systematically changing the neighbourhood from scrubby, undesirable bush blocks into green-hedged quarter acres of new housing developments.